Tons of great new games are coming out over the next stretch of time, and we've already gotten a ton of great new announcements this year. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the top 15 brand new games announced in 2024 so far. Starting off at number 15, it's Sun and Bone, a PS5 exclusive first-person cowboy game where you kill dinosaurs. I don't know what else there is to say about this. The story has a farm being attacked by bandits, you're a sheriff, and somehow you manage to get transported back to prehistoric times, and hey, there's dinosaurs there. Now this game bills itself as a fast-paced shooter. I'm not 100% sure I want to call it a boomer shooter, but it definitely takes some influence from there. And probably my biggest question that I want answered isn't the story or what happens, it's where does the ammo come from? Obviously, I do not need a rational answer for this, but I'm so excited to find out. This game looks fun as hell. It is allegedly coming out this year to the PS5. Stay tuned for more on that. And number 14 is Zoochosis. This one, I kind of like to call Dead Space, but at the zoo. Basically, you're the night zookeeper. Your job is to take care of the animals in the zoo at night. But what happens when an alien parasite takes them over and turns them into hideous, deadly things? Well, first off, you want to try to stay alive. But second off, you want to create a vaccine to cure them, which is maybe not within my capabilities as a zookeeper, but I would also say I probably wouldn't get hired as a zookeeper in the first place. I don't have any capabilities as a zookeeper, so This is a game that takes the aesthetic of kind of a Five Nights at Freddy's-ish thing, maybe a little bit more in the more realistic area, but not a lot, and combines it with The Thing. It definitely creates a weird combination that is definitely unsettling. I'm not sure it's one that I'll be playing with all the lights off at night or anything, but it is definitely one I will be playing. As of now, Zoochosis is set specifically for a PC release in Q2 of this year. We'll see if it lands that release date, but it's definitely a cool looking game that I look forward to playing. At number 13 is Prison Architect 2. It is a follow-up to the 2D private prison simulator that takes the game specifically into a 3D space. However, based on the trailer, it is keeping all of the ideas of the original, which took inspiration from Dwarf Fortress, Theme Hospital, and Dungeon Keeper. And although the game probably most visually closely resembles Theme Hospital, I could probably see more of Dungeon Keeper or Dwarf Fortress in it. Prison Architect came out way back in 2015, and I'd say it's about time for a follow-up. It was a good game. I enjoyed it, but it's been quite a while since I've played it. This looks like a pretty good reason to get back into that world. I also love me a good theme park / theme hospital type game, and I will be playing Prison Architect 2 when it lands on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series May 7th. At number 12 is Dungeonborne, a first-person dungeon crawler giving you PvPvE gameplay. In some ways, it reminds me of Skyrim, except, of course, the type of game it is nothing like Skyrim. It's got that kind of slower-paced, deliberate combat, though. However, it would also be remiss to say it looks like it's as uncomplicated as Skyrim. There's a lot more going on in the combat. It's also got a pretty interesting look to it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's something we've never seen before, but it's a version of medieval fantasy that you don't really see them lean into too much. I would say it doesn't look like anything I've played in recent years, and obviously it looks quite nice because it's a recent game. I'm interested in exactly how this one plays out because it seems to be a competitive game. You got a 3v3 arena, and you don't really have a lot of competitive dungeon crawlers. And I think that's a really interesting starting point for an idea, and it looks good. Dungeonborne is coming to PC sometime this year. And number 11 is Smite 2, the follow-up to the 2014 MOBA. Gonna retain free-to-play, so that obviously gives us some clue as to a lot of what's going on. The developers, Titan Forge Games, are branding it as the next step in Smite. So to me, I'm expecting more evolution than revolution, but it's been a long time since the original. A decade, specifically. It's 2024 now. And to be frank, the original Smite is an Unreal Engine 3 game. We've been through a lot since then. So bringing the multiple PvP modes that Smite has into the Unreal 5 world of today, I think is probably a good idea. If you're unfamiliar with the original, you choose a god. It's not specific to any one mythology. There's a lot of different gods to choose from. Different gods have different powers. That's how it slots into the MOBA idea. It's a 5v5 MOBA, and I expect it to be a pretty good game. I liked the original Smite. It's been, again, a very long time since I have played it, and this seems like a pretty decent excuse to get back into it. Smite 2 is going to be coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC sometime this year. At number 10 is Dragon is Dead, a roguelite hack-and-slash action platformer with pixel art graphics that will likely immediately give you some Castlevania vibes. That's for a good reason. The developers happily claim that as an influence. Good thing, too. It looks super cool, but they also say there is some Dead Cells and Diablo influence in there as well, which Diablo obviously not being of that genre, at least not entirely. There are some elements of the Metroidvania in Diablo, but they're generally structured pretty differently. Some of the cool stuff in Dragon is Dead, it seems like customization is a large aspect of it. They're really pushing the idea that there's a lot you can do to make your combatant your own. Lots of different skill builds, but you got a dragon to slay. That's what's going on here. Dragon is Dead is going to come to early access on Steam June 7th. At number 9 is Kingmakers, which is a game that appears on the surface pretty familiar. Big, massive medieval fights. And then when you're watching the trailer for this game, suddenly a pickup truck appears. You're somebody from a future who goes back in time with guns and vehicles and stuff, and Kingmakers looks phenomenal. I don't care why. There's nothing that could make me not want to play this game. It doesn't matter what's going on here. How many times have you thought, what if somebody had a gun at one of these things? What if somebody drove a car into that big sea of people? I don't know. This is one of those games that it's such a novel but like obvious concept that it's shocking that it doesn't exist already. And on top of that, this doesn't just look like, oh, well, we came up with something that people haven't seen before. It looks fun as hell. It looks like they have great, tight controls, and I'm really excited to play it. Kingmakers is coming to PC sometime this year. At number 8 is Neon Blood, being billed as a cyberpunk detective RPG, a game that kind of reminds me of point-and-click adventure games, but it's clearly not one of those. It's got really cool-looking 2D characters, great sprite work, on a 3D environment that really complements them well. It's set after World War III. You're a detective. It's an adventure game, obviously. There's some degree of detectiving. That's kind of this genre's bread and butter. But there's a lot more to it than that. Apparently, the detective joins a revolution, and a lot of big things happen, which often doesn't happen in this type of a game. Oftentimes, you just solve a mystery, even if it's a big mystery. That's kind of it. This sounds a lot more like world-changing events that you take part in. Should be really interesting. It's coming to PC, the PlayStations, and the Xboxes sometime this year. At number 7 is Endless Ocean Luminous, an adventure/simulation game that takes place underwater, and is the third game in the Endless Ocean series. The original games came out on the Wii, so Endless Ocean and Endless Ocean 2 Adventures of the Deep. I mean, we're talking about 14 to 16-year-old games here. And it's been a very long time since it seems like they even considered making sequels. It's not necessarily Subnautica, but I'm sure that it will kind of feel a little bit like that for some people. Whether or not they actually incorporate elements from Subnautica, I think it'd probably be wise to, honestly. The original Endless Ocean games were, decently reviewed, but I have to assume there'll be some various inclusions and updates that maybe nod towards Subnautica here. I don't know. We'll have to see. Endless Ocean Luminous is coming to Switch May 2nd. At number 6 is Disney Epic Mickey Refurbished, a remake of Epic Mickey. This is a game that came out way back on the Wii, and because of its exclusivity there, maybe didn't get quite the attention it deserved. It's a really interesting game. And it doesn't help that its follow-ups came out on the 3DS, as it's kind of a game that only a certain segment of people may have played. The idea of it actually doesn't seem like a Wii game. It's a little bit quote-unquote edgy. I mean, it's not really actually edgy, but compared to what you would expect from Mickey Mouse, maybe a little edgy. And what we're getting is just a full-on, nice-looking remake of what was a really cool game that deserved more attention. I think it probably will get the attention it should have gotten the first time around. At least I'm crossing my fingers and we get more real Epic Mickey sequels. That would be something I'd like a lot. This is coming to the PlayStation, the Xbox Series, PC, and Switch sometime this year. At number 5 is The Sinking City 2, a survival horror game being developed by Frogwares, following up the Lovecraftian Sinking City, which is a game that had a lot of interesting ideas. It's kind of loosely based on Call of Cthulhu. It's obviously a Lovecraftian game, and the sequel is being set as a standalone story from the previous game. I don't know whether I want to consider that a full-on reboot or not, because it looks like very much like the same game, but a lot better. I don't know a lot about it beyond that, other than they put together a pretty good trailer. This one's not coming out in the immediate future. It'll be landing in 2025. So keep your eyes peeled to gameranx for more updates on this one. At number 4 is Marvel Rivals, a team-based PvP shooter that, I mean, it's Marvel, so you know what the deal is here. It's superheroes. To me, it kind of looks like third-person Overwatch, maybe combined with Power Stone a little bit. I would normally be pretty skeptical of this kind of thing, but the footage that they put together actually looks pretty interesting to me. It's team-based, you got 2 teams of 6, and apparently destructible environments. We see some of that in the trailer, but we don't really know to what extent. What we do see is pretty cool looking, though. So, I don't know, this is one of those games where I really hope it lives up to its potential. Marvel Rivals is coming to PC sometime in the future. And number 3 is Nobody Wants to Die, which is a really interesting dystopian cyberpunk kind of BioShock possibly looking game with a time mechanic that kind of looks a little Prince of Persia-like. We don't have actual gameplay of this one. We just have a cinematic announcement trailer, and it's very cool looking. But obviously, without any gameplay, I can't really tell you exactly what's going on here, other than everything established gives me certain vibes, and that makes me want to play it. Obviously, when we know more about it, we'll let you know, with Nobody Wants to Die coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series sometime this year. Moving on to number 2, The Night Wanderer, a game billing itself as a Souls-like RPG with a Metroidvania-inspired level design, but a much faster combat system. We'll see exactly how that shakes out as we know more, but what we've seen of it establishes a pretty different world from what we're used to with a Souls-like. We're on a spaceship, but we're also on a medieval world called Midgard. You're an elite soldier, and to be frank, we have not seen gameplay, so we're taking a lot on their word, but the trailer is different. If they can deliver on what they're saying, this is one of those games that is going to be very cool. We don't have a release date for it, but when it does come out, it's coming to the PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. And finally, at number 1, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, a Captain America / Black Panther story that obviously pits these two against Hydra, but also against each other, at least for some portion of the game, as the trailer puts them sort of in clash with each other. It is an interesting looking trailer, don't get me wrong, but again, as an announcement trailer, we don't really know what the game's gonna look like. Potentially, it could be very good. Comes to us from the creative director of the Uncharted series, Amy Hennig. Understanding that piece of information gives us some hope as to its gameplay style. I'm hoping somewhat Uncharted style, but we'll see. We don't have a release date, but we'll probably see that on every platform possible. They've announced it for PC, but why wouldn't you see this on other ones? I have a couple of bonus games for you. Industria 2 is the first, which sounds like it would be a factory building game, but it's not. If you played the original Industria, you know it's a narrative FPS. Industria 2 sets you in a parallel dimension. That's very freaky, very weird, very different. We don't have a release date for that, but it's coming to PC. And finally, Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, the first new Fatal Fury game in 26 years. and a direct sequel to Garou, Mask of the Wolves from 1999. It's giving us that kind of 2D in 3D art style, but it definitely does look unique, and it looks like Fatal Fury, if you remember that series. It's one that I used to really enjoy, and is going to be coming to, I would assume, every platform in 2025. That's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on gameranx.